Welcome to the Flooring Podcast with Mike Harris, the show where we cover new construction, restoration, and everything to do with flooring in commercial construction. Now here's your host, Mike Harris.
Thank you, Producer Dave. This is Mike Harris, and this is the Flooring Podcast. We are coming from the podcast studio, Boston Podcast Studio 617 in Westwood, Massachusetts. Producer Dave is taking care of the business here. And today I'm very happy to have David Pineda. David, good morning.
Mike, great to see you again.
Nice to see you. Yeah, David, we've known each other for about 20 years.
Yeah, definitely. Since I started in the flooring industry.
Since David started in the flooring industry 20 years ago, and David is now the North Atlantic States Carpenters head instructor for the flooring division. So you are the instructor for the installers for the union flooring industry in Boston.
Correct, yeah. All our union apprentices come down to our training center in Millbury, Massachusetts, and it's actually not just Boston, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Rhode Island. Since we're the hub there in Millbury, our training shop is specialty designed for all flooring, so they all come to us.
Okay, so you're basically all New England.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great to say. Well, why don't you let's talk a little bit about that. In probably the last 15 years of my career with Ardex, I was working, primarily with union installers and generated quite a bit of respect for them. Tell us how they get involved and how they get educated.
Well, similar to like myself, I actually came to that same training program 20 years ago. I went to the same training center,
okay.
A lot smaller back then, regarding the flooring division.
Yeah, I've been out there a bunch of times. Yeah, it's a phenomenal training facility. They do multiple trades out there, correct?
Correct, yeah. They'll do your traditional carpenters, your wood framing, your metal framing, drywall. We also have the specialties of the millwrights and the pile drivers. We encompass it all. We like to say that we cover 70% of any building that's being built, and so you're going to get the highest level of training there. Okay,
and let's talk a little bit about your role there and how these, we call them journeymen? Apprentices to journeyman is when they get through your course, right?
Correct.
Tell us what they have to do.
All right. So initially, we host a information session the first Monday of every month, so they can come and just get a little bit of a rundown. We give them about an hour for any applicant who is interested in joining a union, in joining the trades, specifically the carpentry trades, and you'll watch a video. You can ask any question you have at that time, and then we'll give you a code so you can fill out an online application. After that, if you fill out the application, meet all those minimum requirements, you will have an interview. And I'm part of that interview team as well.
Yep.
So I get to see the apprentices or the interviewees first before even getting accepted into the program. We'll have a good conversation, hopefully, and if everything works out, you will then take a drug test and you'll actually become a member of the union.
Okay, and do you have to have a sponsor, or that is basically the process right now?
You do not. So that was a little bit old school. Somebody would vouch for you. We really accept anybody who really wants to become a carpenter.
Okay, and so what is the process now once they've gotten the application process and they've gotten accepted?
So we do 4 10-hour days. They're with us every 3 months. So we'll do a 40-hour week.
Every 3 months?
Correct. So
for 1 week, full week?
Yep, one full week with us. When we cover something very specific on that, whether it be surface prep, square tile installation, carpet tile, everything we try to encompass and try to imagine all flooring into 16 weeks. That's very challenging.
That is challenging, but in thinking about it, doing a full week, you can get a lot done on a particular flooring installation.
Absolutely. We'll cover that, and then it'll be a little bit of a repetition the next week what we covered in the previous one.
Yep.
So we practice surface prep the first time around. We're hoping the next one immediately right off the bat, you start getting to that flow of what that surface prep is, making sure you're preparing the substrate, priming it correctly.
Yep.
And then we're moving on into square layout. So a little bit of that repetition, muscle memory is what we want to create with our apprentices.
Yep.
And then as we get deeper into the classes, now it's a little bit of that problem solving, which is flooring in general.
Flooring is problem solving.
It is problem solving. So we're trying to instill that the standards that are necessary from every manufacturer. And that's how you get a win on a job. Right. No problems. No poor installations. How do I get this self level to stick for the rest of this, for the life of this, job. So it's challenging.
It is challenging. And I always say, nobody knows what's going on underneath that floor.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on. We always just say, how do we make that floor look like this?
Yeah.
And as you know, from doing it yourself, there's, very, very challenging. Now, these apprentices are working in the field the other time, correct, with the different companies, learning as they go.
Exactly.
And then they come to you again. What was that? Once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months. So
for a full week. Yep. Now, you also mentioned to me, which I learned, which I loved, on their first. Or is it every time they come to school?
Every time.
Every time they come to school, if they got to start at 7 a.m., if they don't make it, they can't come.
Yeah, we need to set that standard as well. How our value, we get paid well. I will never complain about my salary, but that comes with the cost. That comes with the responsibility behind it. And training is the same way. We need you to be there on time, 30 minutes is on time for us, and that's what we try to, instill in them, that they need to be professionals right off the bat. As apprentices, be professionals, show up on time, show up every day, be present in the moment, be present in your training, be present at work.
Yeah. It must be critical. Yeah.
It's critical. We talked about it, that a journey person is somewhere around $1.50 a minute. That's a crazy number.
Right.
That really is a crazy number. But if we're producing with quality, we're being productive, that value is there. If at the end of the day, the customer is happy, we're in the customer service game.
Right.
And I need them to understand that as well.
Right. Now, David, how long have you been in this role?
So in this role, I started in 22, so I'm about to complete 4 years in it. And initially, it was a bit of a shock.
Coming from the field.
Yeah. I'm coming in with a bit of a foreman mentality, and
running jobs and
trying to push them a little bit. But it is about the education and them taking something with them that week, not just getting pushed. And making sure they understand the why.
Right.
The why is important.
Right. Now, obviously, they're there to do a job. They're there to do the job correctly, with the idea that it's okay to make money for their their company they're working for, because that's, without them making money, they don't have a job.
Right. And they are the future, literally, because our skilled workforce is diminishing very quickly.
Yeah.
I think over the next decade, I saw that 40% of our skilled labor is going to retire.
Yeah.
So the amount that's coming in isn't keeping up with the amount that's going out right now.
Now, you had mentioned, and that's a critical point in every trade right now. I'm part of that baby boomer generation after World War II, and we're retiring, we're moving on, and the younger generations aren't jumping into the field as like they used to. Although you said that's starting to change a little bit, correct?
Just a little bit, yeah. So like myself, I came in through family business, where I have many family members in this business, uncles, cousins. Throw a rock into a union hall, and you're going to hit a family member.
Right.
And so that had gone away for a minute, where there was a big push for everybody to go to college. So the installers that I came up with, their kids were pushed to go to college.
Yep.
Which if that worked out for them, great. but I've seen many instances where it hasn't really led to anything, and then they still end up coming, back now a little bit later. Maybe the time is right, but we're getting a little bit more of that comeback, of that generational comeback, and
you think COVID had anything to do with that, or changed this landscape a little bit? I
think it absolutely did, because careers just went away. Occupation, there was just nothing there for you during COVID. Myself, many of the installers.
You were still installing, yeah.
Still going. We're still going. I remember walking through Logan Airport by myself. It was a ghost town, and I'm just going through and getting the job done.
Yeah.
Mask on and everything. So that never stopped.
So you didn't miss a beat during COVID?
Not one.
Wow, that's great.
So where, I had apprentices when I came in and be like, oh, well, all right, what brought you in? That's one of my first questions.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was in the restaurant. I was running a restaurant chain.
Wow.
And that went away. That just went away like that.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to ever happen again. So he's like, I needed a skill. And I was like, perfect. Here you are. So, and this is not a 20-year-old. This is a 35-year-old.
Sure.
So to understand that, to lose your career again at 35, and and a little older, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, that's going to hurt. Talk a little bit about the beauty of the union, the benefits. That's one of the biggest attractions for getting people into the unions.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think all of us want to get compensated correctly for our labor, for our sweat. We tell them, you're going to work hard.
Yeah.
You're going to sweat. You're going to have the cold days. You're going to have the hot as hell days. And
you're going to get that shoulder worn out. You're going to get your knees hurt from nailing down. Yeah, absolutely.
But there are absolute benefits to it. Health insurance. I haven't worried about health insurance for 20 years. And it's not coming out of my paycheck. That is already paid through my benefits package.
Yep.
And my annuity, that is just another beautiful savings bank that just happens on an hourly basis. There's money going into it. I'm not trying to, budget that through the bank or anything like that. It's just growing, and after 20 years, it
grows.
It's compounding some interest. Yeah. It's good to see.
Yeah, is your annuity your pension?
And the pension is separate.
Pension is separate. Wow, so you get a pension and an annuity.
Pension and annuity at the end of this. So the way I'm living now will not change in my later years when I retire. That I will still have basically the same amount of money. And we get some old timers who don't want to go away, which they love it so much, which is great. But at some point, they're actually costing themselves money because they would make more in their pension and annuity package than actually working.
Right, because you're still paying in.
Because you're still paying in.
You're working.
They've accumulated so much in both of those funds that they're actually costing themselves money. But, that's a beautiful problem to have.
That's a beautiful problem to have, is right. And talk a little bit about how did, you talked about this family business. How'd you get involved in the flooring business? You grew up in Everett.
Yes. I grew up in Everett. I went to...
You're the first generation of your family here.
Correct. So I really didn't know the college route. That wasn't really a big conversation at home. I knew I liked working with my hands because Everett was a vocational school at the time.
Okay.
So I actually jumped into the culinary arts program. Okay. And I still love being, cooking and being a chef.
What's better than eating, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Look at me. So I really have a passion for that. So with that, I knew my hands. I like to create.
Yep.
So I really enjoyed that. I attempted it for a few years, and but in those years, as soon as I graduated, my uncles were like, "Oh, come join the floor covers. Come join the floor covers." Never really explaining what it was and, selling it to me. They're just like, this is what you have to do.
Right. Well,
obviously.
The old school guys really weren't big salesmen. They were more like, this is what you got to do.
Right. So obviously an 18-year-old, you tell them, you're going to do this, you're going to go the other way.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I traveled my road in the restaurant industry for a while. But I noticed their success of their homes.
Yep.
Their wives got to stay home with the children, which is an advantage I actually currently experience.
Yep.
So that's amazing.
That was attractive to you.
I was like, wow, okay, what's going on here? They're actually making it look easy.
Yeah.
So I jumped in at 27 years old, and I was like, let's find out what this is. I had a couple different avenues to enter. I finally listened to him. Jose Lopez from Allegheny.
Jose was a great guy. Probably did more work with Jose, me personally, than any other individual person out there. Yes, yeah. Jose's a great guy.
So initially my uncle was like, he was going to set me up with Business Interiors, but I was needing an intent to hire letter at the time.
Okay.
And he couldn't get it for me from Lenny Ficarro, another legend in the game.
Another legend.
And so he's like, go reach out to Jose. Jose did me the huge favor of giving me an intent to hire letter, and he told me if I ever wanted a job at Allegheny that it was available. I ended up going to Business Interiors, and I stayed there for 15 years as an installer.
Wow, that was a good run, huh?
Yeah, I truly call them my family. Every mentor there, they shared their skill set, their experiences. They showed me the craft, and I'm appreciative to every one of them for that.
Yeah. And during that time at Business Interiors, rumor has it that you learned this self-leveling game, huh?
Yeah. There's some guy put on his cleats one day. So you are my mentor when it comes to self-leveling. We're with Eric Martinez. I remember being on this job, and we're like, Mike, we don't understand this whole,
it was new then, yeah.
We fumbled around with it a few times, mitigation and self-level, and you come there with your slacks, your button down, and you throw on those cleats, and many times, not just once.
Right.
You come in and you're showing us how to rake, how to smooth the mixes, and you really set a standard for us to follow. I've never had one failed job because I just follow the rules exactly as you described them, and you are very meticulous, and I followed everything you say. I'll still call you and say, hey, I got a weird one here. And, I know the easy ones are the ones that are, cut and dry. But then I'm like, I got a funky one here.
Well, that's, you, like you say, you still call me, and you do, and I appreciate that. And, you mentioned Jose and you mentioned Lenny. Those people call, they got a question. I think most of the times when you called me, or most of the times when they called me, they kind of knew the answer, but they just needed a little reinforcement.
Yeah.
And that is unbelievable. That is great. That's what I loved in the business. It's like, let's check all the boxes before we get started here, so we don't have to worry about it afterwards. We don't want flaws coming up. We've all had those in the past. They're all a nightmare. Let's do it right. Let's do it the first time. Everybody's happy. So that worked out great, and I appreciate you still calling me, actually. I think it was not too long ago you called me. You were doing a little side job or something.
Yeah.
Probably for a family member.
Yeah, it was a little friend. And I get apprentices who also call me, and they got a little side hustle going on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a little out of my scope. Let me check in with Mike, make sure they're in the right place too.
I'll be around for my phone will be around forever for those calls.
And I think it's essential for not just leaving those phone calls up to the office. I think as installers, we need to have this relationship with our reps, and
absolutely.
And they know how it gets installed correctly.
Yep.
They've gone through all the problems and the headaches. Let's avoid them. Just make a quick phone call, and you'll actually have a lot of success.
Right, because every manufacturer has a little different nuances, a little different priming situation, and if you've dealt with 3 different lines of materials, it's sometimes difficult to keep them, in together. So it's really good to make that phone call. It's minutes to make that phone call.
Literally. Yep. I want to take that fear away from, I don't know if I should call them. I'm like, you should definitely call them.
Absolutely. Be proactive. Absolutely correct. Let's talk a little bit about, you said you started the training program 4 years ago.
Correct.
And it takes the apprentices 4 years to get through?
4 years, yeah.
So is it graduation time now, or what?
I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to say goodbye to some really good friends of mine. They're not just apprentices to me right now. They're really good friends. They continue to reach out. It's a bit of an emotional thing for me. I'm like, wow, I'm still growing at this.
Sure.
I'm still improving as an instructor. And, I can imagine their first year with me and the growing pains we had together.
Sure.
But I think we were both evolving, and that's awesome. So I'll be seeing them at their first graduation my first graduation with that group, with that cohort in April. So it's it's a big deal to me.
And I know the Carpenters Union have a big training center down in Las Vegas.
Correct.
Do you go down there to get trained too, or how does that work?
So I'm actually heading out on Sunday for my next training session. So we are collaborating with Penn State University.
Wow.
So we take workforce education classes to help us become better instructors. I'm probably on class number 10 at this point, where at the end of it, I hope to be walking away with minimally my associate's degree.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a crash course on particular topics, on just building curriculum, presenting curriculum, just advocating for them. So we're taking college classes right there on the fly, and we're going through it's interesting. You get there and you're like, oh, you're Vegas, you're going to chill. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do college homework right now.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. So we're continuing improving. It's not just the field experience. As installers, we're more than capable, but it's translating that information over and getting them to understand it in many different ways, not just one. We don't all learn the same.
Correct.
And I think that's the what we're picking up from Penn State, how to deliver information to many different types of people.
Yeah, no, that's critical. And as a salesman myself, considered myself a teacher. We're teaching people how to use these products. We're teaching people how to install these products and the reasons why. So that is, hopefully, you're getting that information over that somebody can understand it. Now, you also do this in Spanish and in English?
Yeah, so the blessing I have is I read and write Spanish very well, so I can most of the floor cover community, I'm going to say right now probably about 60% is Spanish, and a lot of them are immigrants. So we have to make sure that they understand the information just like anybody else. So I can translate all the information, all the teaching, and deliver it in Spanish as well to them. It's kind of a thing from the heart for me. I look at them and I'm like, all right, that's my father, my mother when they got to this country. And how do I help them, have a successful career like I did, and without any of the challenges that my parents went through. Definitely. So.
Yeah, you can make it a little bit easier for them.
Correct. No, I always encourage them, obviously add another skill set, and English is another skill set that gives you an advantage up. But while you're in our training centers, I'm going to try to give you everything you need so you walk away that you feel like you took something home with you. Right.
And you, as we talked a little bit about beforehand, you talked a little bit about AI helping you in that arena. Why don't you explain that?
Absolutely. I never went to college. I'm not very proficient with a computer. I'm picking it up, but when I need to translate a whole document, I could spend a day or two doing that, or I can run that over to any of these AI softwares, and just like that, it's translated over. I fact check it, beautiful, off, it's done. So my time isn't spent on small things like that, and I think that's what we have to take advantage of AI. It's a tool, and how do we use it correctly? I feel like I've been able to take advantage of where things that could take me a week or two, and I'm learning it. I'm building it in seconds, literally.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. I'm developing this podcast and having different guests. We all talk a little bit about AI because it is in whatever avenue of this flooring business they're in, and everybody is reaching into that AI and using it a little bit to their advantage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think an important thing that's going to happen in the near future is even kind of with Apple's last AirPods, they're going to be live translation. So that will make me, instead of breaking down the class twice, kind of saying in English, saying in Spanish, if they can have live translation there, kind of everybody can get it at the same time. I think that's where we're headed. I think we need to take advantage of this moment of technology and that boom, and how do we apply it in our industry? You'll never take away our hand skills and anything like that. I think in a previous podcast, they're not going to build a robot to kick carpet. But these little aspects of understanding are going to be critical for us when it comes to technology.
Yeah. Now, so you're the trainer, and you said you've been trained by different people out there in the marketplace. So you're teaching people, a skill set, self-leveling cements, and you said I taught you how to do that. So I just want to reinforce the fact that I taught the trainer.
Absolutely.
I taught the teacher. That's good to hear. Give myself a plug there.
There you go.
Yeah.
You deserve it. Well deserved. I mean, like I said, not a failed floor. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your career as a floor coverer.
Okay.
So you started at 27. Not that was a little late, but I guess maybe it was a little later. You worked for Business Interiors for 15 years. Talk about your career there and the different things you learned and got to do there.
So initially, when I got there, broadloom was still the hot ticket.
Yeah.
So broadloom carpet, it's a little bit of a dying art, but it's an art that I have, and I had many great. It was so prevalent back then.
Yeah.
Hotels, and
Well, that 15. When you think about that was 15. You worked for them for 15 years, or 40. So 20 years ago, the Boston Cambridge market just started to boom.
Yep.
And it was high rises and hotels and condominiums. So
yeah,
you hit it right.
I always feel like it came in at the perfect time because I got so many aspects of the industry where sometimes we can become a little specialized in one thing.
Yep.
I believe I have a little bit of everything, and I can work on any crew possible.
Yep.
Where carpet, broadloom, then. We're doing resilient, we're doing sheet vinyl, but with that, guess what? We got some moisture mitigation problems.
Yep.
There's moisture in the floor. What does that mean? Okay, you've got to learn to shot blast it.
Yep.
Okay, we shot blast it, we apply mitigation. You got to learn how to self level now. I'm like,
Yep.
ooh, okay, another thing. And
skill set.
And that was just hours.
Yep.
Now we're installing the floor.
Right.
And you start to realize, wow, the preparation is actually consuming a lot of those man hours.
Yeah.
And the installations actually go super quick after that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Makes it a lot easier, right? Yeah.
And as that evolved, then all of a sudden this polished concrete shows up.
Polish probably came in about that time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they want to start this, I want to say about 12 to 14 years ago, give or take. And all right, here is a machine that used to do demo with. Now we're going to put some diamonds on it, and we're going to shine the floor. I'm like,
right.
Okay, this should be interesting.
Yeah.
So
and those pieces of equipment are not cheap.
Right. Exactly. We had to purchase some for capital a few years back. It is an investment. We're talking somewhere easily of $75,000
for each piece.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you need more than one.
Oh, you need more than one. You need a fleet.
You need a lot more than one. That's right. Yeah.
So getting into that, and then. We fumbled around with it at Business Interiors, and then John Gabry came in.
Yep.
And he really elevated that division to the next level, that surfaces division, where, he really understood the business, and we were selling like crazy, and I continued to do so.
Yeah,
and
brought it to the next level.
And so with that came polish, overlayment, epoxy.
Yep.
And so I got to pick up a little bit of that, over the 4 or 5 years that I was with him, and then switched over back to resilient flooring again. So I got to bounce around enough where I feel very comfortable anywhere I go.
Yeah, and then you went to Capital for what, 1 year or 2 years? How long were you at Capital for?
I did 1 year at Capital. So Sergio Braga, another legend in the game.
Yeah.
He had gone over to Capitals, and he wanted to start a surfaces division.
Yep.
So I was. He called me over, and we worked something out, and I was there for a year. We had a very successful year. That year we picked up Amazon Seaport, which was 17 floors of polished concrete, and that really put us on the map.
Yeah.
And helped that division really evolve. But my passion, I got a taste of the apprenticeship program during COVID, where they were down an instructor for health reasons, and they needed me to fill in. I checked in with my field supervisor if he was okay with that. And I did that for probably about 4 months, part-time instructing with them. And, man, that really sparked a flame in me. And my coworker, my partner, Eric Martinez, he's like, hey, there's actually a positioning opening up. I was like, ugh. I hated to do that to Sergio because him and Mark Moramo were so great to me. Yeah. But it was really where I wanted to be, and I've been happy for the past 4 years.
That's awesome. So, speaking of Eric, we got. I showed you this earlier. Concrete construction from October of 2014. Oh yeah. is Eric right there? He's got his Red Bull in his back pocket. Yeah. Banging out. That was Boston Scientific back in the day. That was our first. Sand broadcasted mitigation system, and that was outside. There was no walls in that building. Yeah, that was our new system at the time. Which again, that started off. That kind of put us on the map a little bit there too. That was. I think that's you over there. But I love this Eric picture with the Red Bull in his back pocket.
That was Ardex's science project there, and we were the guinea pigs. And
it certainly was.
It was amazing to be part of that. And Eric now is the coordinator of retention for the North Atlantic States Training Fund. So, trying to figure out how we bring these members in. Yep. How do we keep them for the long term? Certainly. It is an investment just to bring them in. Yeah. We want to make sure that they're long-lasting members, and he's head up that project for a while now for the past 4 years. He was an instructor, and I took over his position there. Oh, okay. So it just shows you to the growth of being in the union. You're not. I could be an installer for all 30 years. I loved it. I loved that creative aspect of it, but just more opportunities there, and just say yes.
Well, it sounds like you've gravitated to the teaching role, and which you really love, which is great. Talk a little bit about the numbers in the union. How are they doing right now in the city of Boston? Is everybody working? It's always about the backlog and how much work is out there, because we've talked earlier about the last 15 years. The city of Boston and Cambridge has exploded, right. With work, and it's got to slow down eventually here, maybe, but typically it does. Has that happened yet?
So yeah, we definitely have seen a slowdown in Boston. There has been a little bit of that break in the chain. I think that still is residual from COVID regarding new construction and renovation. Yeah, that renovation aspect I think has really slowed down because of COVID and people coming back to the offices and stuff like that. Yeah. But yet our members are still going. They're going strong. And the reason is we're New England. So we're in Maine, Connecticut, which are booming town, Rhode Island. They're all booming right now. So as a member, if you want to work, you're going to travel right now. Yeah. But if you want hours, you're going to travel. Yeah. And that is part of it. And, it's keeping us going at this moment when Boston's slow. Yep. Our skill is still needed elsewhere. Great. As long as we're willing to travel, and we have a lot of incentives in our contracts to do that. We still have the opportunity to make money.
Yeah, I think I just saw the other day, Portland, Maine right now is putting up the biggest high-rise. They changed the laws on how high you can go. So, Portland's a great little town that's, really starting to pick up some momentum, Yeah. As far as construction goes,
I think we just, we need to follow the work. We've always said it. Yep. Just the work was, from my house, it was 5 miles away for a long, long time. Yeah. But right now, you've got to move around a little bit.
Might be 6 miles away. Also, too, you at Capital, you were involved in sales.
Correct.
So that was your first kind of taste of putting the numbers to the work.
Exactly.
Which was a nice little learning experience for you.
That year was a crash course in everything, epoxy and polished concrete, writing up bids, writing up prices, and really understanding that relationship between the contractor and the GC. Yeah. And time frames. When are you going to come in, ordering the material properly. Yep. So getting the money aspect and then the value of each worker. I always understood the value of being there, being present, but when one person has a light day, that's costing you a lot of money on that job, and you're seeing the register go down. You're like, wait a minute, something's wrong here.
That's right.
So understanding how to build a crew properly, a team that works together, and making people aware that there's a standard that we need to keep as a union.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to it. The names you mentioned, Sergio, Jose, Lenny, now those guys could walk on a job and look around and say, okay, it's going to be 6-man days or 12 men, blah blah blah. I was like, how the hell you know that? Experience does.
Experience, and Sergio was sharing that with me, and really making me aware of how he does things and how you price things like that. And it's scary at first because it's not my money. Yeah. But, and so I want to be just as responsible, and as if I was installing it.
Sure.
So,
it's good attitude to have, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to translate that now to the training and making them understand what their value is on a minute-by-minute basis.
Yeah.
So it was a learning curve that year.
I can imagine, but great experience to have now.
Yeah.
Now, in your personal life, you have a young daughter. With this new job, you maybe gives you a little more time to spend with your daughter. I know some of the guys in the field, especially when it's busy, work a 8-hour shift, and then sometimes they work another 8-hour shift. Yeah. And about back then when we showed this job here, that was I think that picture was taken on second shift, where you guys came off an 8-hour shift to start working on a second 8-hour shift, and it means the money is great, but you get tired, you get beat up, and your personal life has to take a back seat. So being in this position now, working 4 days a week, 10-hour days, spend more time with your daughter, huh?
Yeah, work-life balance. That's one of the most challenging things.
Balance is everything.
We will experience as installers. You've got to put the food on the table, and sometimes that you're going to be out of town. You're not going to be there. Yep. So it's a blessing I have right now. 4 10-hour days where I can go home and spend a little time today. With my daughter. Not be so beat up as I used to be.
Sure.
So just those many different avenues and opportunities that the union provides for you.
Yep.
Not just as an installer, but yeah, there's sacrifice to everything.
Yeah.
Sacrifice to everything.
No doubt about it. And in our conversations we've had coming up to this, you got a little personal thing you do with Star Wars Lego sets. What's the deal with that?
So a little bit of me.
Because my grandkids are into Legos big time, and I want to learn about this.
A little bit of me time is my collection of Star Wars Legos. I've probably been doing it for about 15 years now. A little over 200 sets. Many of those sets are not open. They are collectibles.
So you don't have these all over your living room mantelpiece.
At the moment, no. That was always the plan.
Yeah. The wife probably had something to say about that, though, huh?
That was always the plan. Have my own little room. That little room became my daughter's room. So they're still in boxes. My daughter looks at them. When are we going to play with them? I'm like, never. I'm like, but I've got her. Kind of digging into that world a little bit. She actually loves it. She's really good. She Lego has made a lot of cool applications where before it used to be the little flip book. Now they have like a 3D application that she can go through the whole thing. It's amazing. So yeah, she builds on her own. It's fun. She loves it.
Well, that's great. Great to hear. And we're getting kind of to the end of our podcast here. Like I told you, 40 minutes goes by pretty quick.
We could cover a lifetime here, you and I.
And but I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
I've loved working with you over the years.
Yeah.
You're, obviously, I think you probably have turned into a great teacher.
Hopefully.
We have. Well, I've been there personally a bunch of times. Teaching your group. Helping them along the way, and I really wanted to get you on here to learn more about how the union works, how people get educated into it. Again, I've always known a little bit about it, but I didn't know the finer details that I know now, which is great. and I appreciate that. And like I said before, you were always great at calling and asking questions. You're still doing that. Keep that up.
I will.
Keep learning. Lifelong learning, as we say, is always there. And started this thing on this podcast, and got 3 quick questions I want to ask you. If we're looking for the one-word answer. Ready?
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite ice cream?
So I forget the name of the ice cream place in Newton, blanket on it, but they have a combination there that you can get a blueberry pie and a ginger ice cream, and I combine them, and I don't know why, it's heaven. It's a weird combination.
Blueberry ginger. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds disgusting. What's your favorite place to vacation?
On a yearly basis, we do 2 weeks in Cabo San Lucas.
Really?
Yeah. Probably for the last 12 years or so.
Wow, because I have a son who lives in California,
Okay.
and they love going to Cabo because it's close to them. That's like a long ride for you.
Oh yeah, it's about 10 hours for me, but
Wow.
that's why it's 2 weeks. Yeah, and it's heaven for me.
And what's your favorite food or meal?
So I'm Salvadoran,
Yeah.
and my mother, most of my grandmothers no longer with us, but her pupusas, which is just corn flour formed into a tortilla type thing with a cheese mixture.
Yeah.
That was perfection for me, and I'll always miss them.
We always love our grandma's cooking, don't we?
My mother does a very close second, but
Yeah.
can't beat grandma.
Can't beat grandma's. That's great. Well, David, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming
Thank
on.
you, Mike.
All
Thank you for everything,
Stay in
Mike.
touch, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. You can find the Flooring Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. We'll see you next time when Mike rejoins us in 2 weeks on the Flooring Podcast.